Hey, it's another fantastic day in Cote de Casa. I'm by the 11th green on our north golf course. And the plant we have today, this is a fairy iris, also known as a wild iris or a large wild iris. It is one of our African iris plants. Scientific name is Dietes grandiflora. So this plant grows about 3 feet wide, about 4 feet high. It's very drought tolerable. It's easy to grow and maintain. It's a great ornamental, and you find it in homes, and especially you also find it out in the parking lots of shopping centers, like at Vaughn's or Ralph's or Safeway. It's an evergreen plant. It can grow as a standalone or in clusters, like we have here. Now, this plant, take a look at the bottom here. The leaves or the blades here, they grow straight out of the ground. They're very long, very lance-like, and this propagates by rhizomes instead of bulbs or what's called corms in other varieties similar to this plant. And the rhizomes will just reach out and grow and start a new plant. Now, in addition to the blades here, we have flower stalks. You notice the flower stalks are, this one here is more roundish in shape, and they'll come up to the top of the flower. And here's a flower here. And this flower, it's got, of course, white, yellow, and purple. And it has a certain marcation here, little brown design at the base. And this separates it from what's called the Dietes iridioides, which is also a common plant that looks just like this. Now these here, they're not called petals, they're called sepals, because you can't really tell if it's a petal or a tepal, and the sepals will connect directly to the stem as opposed to like a bud or a receptacle. Now this is also called a fortnight lily, and a fortnight means 14 days. So theoretically they bloom for 14 days, but these guys don't. They usually bloom about maybe 4 days, maybe 5. But they bloom in alternating cycles. So you might have one bloom today, one bloom tomorrow, and so they carry us throughout the full season. Now eventually the flowers will die back, and they'll form these green seed buds here. And the seed buds will die back or die and crack open and release their seeds, which you find in here, these little black guys. There we go. All right, so this plant, it propagates by seeds and also by the rhizomes. Here we got another one here. These are all planted together in clusters, separated by about 3 feet, maybe 4 feet. So if you want to plant this on your own, the easiest way is to simply take a cutting out of the base, out of the ground, make sure you get the full roots and the rhizomes, separate the plant, and then you can just replant it. So I mentioned this is drought tolerant. It's relatively maintenance free, except there's a couple things you need to do. Always, once it goes to pod like this, just cut it off. All right? And cut off any of the dead flowers, and this will help it keep blooming and actually give you more flowers. Also, if you see dead leaves forming down here, or dead stems here, you just can pull them up and discard them, and it helps keeping a much nicer looking green evergreen plant. Now after winter, usually about March or April. You will just deadhead this whole thing, relatively low to the ground, maybe a foot, maybe 18 inches. And that's just before growth season and flower season, so it should sprout up real nice and new. So I showed an example of one that's been already deadheaded, this guy here. And you see just straight across, pretty easy. It's, I would say it's about 18 inches, but you got to make sure you remove all the dead leaves. This will help promote growth next season. As well, it keeps it all nice and evergreen looking. All right, so this is our Dioides grandiflora. Very beautiful flower, easy to grow, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks, bye.